morning children. Hope you all are good. So we are going to continue our topic transpiration in plants. So from this already few topics that we are completed. Once just side headings I will recall. Diffusion process, facilitated diffusion, osmosis and water potential. These are completed. So here we are going to continue our topic. Here we are saying the transport in plants transport water and food material. So specifically how the plants will transport the water and food material. So first of all, water transport. We will discuss about water transport. How water enters into the plant body and how it will be transported throughout the plant body. So for that here, generally we said that diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis, this helps to transport the substances. But here we need to remember that this is helpful only for the short distances, that is specifically within the cell or neighboring cells. Cell lopala transport cheyadaniki or otherwise from one cell to another cell, that much distance. It is not possible to transport the substances to longer distance. This is possible within the cell. This helps to transport within the cell. It means from this cell throughout the cell. Oka cell lone cell mottam transport kavali. Or otherwise transporting the substances to the neighboring cells. So that much few or a small distance can be transported by the diffusion or other facilitated processes. If this process taken to transport in higher plants, which is in our surroundings, angiosperm plants, it takes to transport 1 meter years of time. Okay, 1 meter distance ni substances ni transport cheyalante diffusion process or by osmosis process, it takes years of time. So that is not possible for survival of plant. So in higher plants there is a special tissue to transport food and water. That is what you all know, vascular tissue. Vascular tissue is nothing but xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Here, transporting the substances by vascular tissue, that process can be said as translocation. Translocation. Okay, ma? In higher plants or in angiosperms or the plant species appearing in our having a specialized tissue for transporting the substances. That specialized tissue saying as vascular tissue. This vascular tissue is nothing but xylem and phloem. Transporting the substances by vascular tissue, that process can say as translocation. Okay, first we will discuss how water, you all know that xylem transports water and phloem transports food material. So here first we will discuss about how water transportation takes place. Here in plant body, to transport water mainly two steps are there. One is absorption of water by root hairs. plant body. That process can say as ascent of sap. Ascent of sap. Okay, ma'am? Water transportation mainly takes place in these two steps. One is absorption of water by root hairs and the second one is ascent of sap. So first coming to the absorption of water. We all know that simply we will say roots absorb water. Which part of the plant body absorbs water means simply we will say that roots. But specifically from the roots also, root hairs are the structures. Root hairs are the structures that absorb water from the soil. So let us go through this internal or transverse structure of a root to understand how root hairs absorb water. How water transportation will take place. So here in the root section, epidermal cells and just to the epidermal cells having parenchymatous cells. These parenchymatous cells are arranged loosely and having intercellular spaces. It means having gaps in between the cells. Parenchymatous cells loosely packed and having intercellular spaces. And just after this having another layer of cells or innermost layer of the cortex. This can say as cortex. Barrel-shaped cells. These cells are endodermis. This layer is endodermis. These endodermis cells specialization is having a layer which is made up of suberin. These layer can say Casparian strips. Casparian strips. This is made up of the substance suberin. Suberin is impervious to the water. Here in this endodermis, few cells are without Casparian strip. These cells can say passage cells. What we say this? Passage cells. And inner to the endodermis, here is phloem. Phloem cells. Before that having multi-layered pericycle. Having number of layers. And inner to the pericycle having phloem tissue and inner to this having xylem, but in dipod plants xylem and phloem are differentiated by cambium. Phloem, cambium, and then inner to the cambium, here we will find xylem. So this is the brief list of root. Outermost epidermis. Epidermis layer is in single layer. From these epidermal cells, hairy structures are developing. These hairy structures which are from the epidermal cells, this can say as the root hairs. These root hairs that are playing a main role in absorption of water. And then beneath to the cortical cells, these cortical cells are parenchymatous and having the intercellular spaces or loosely packed cells. Beneath or innermost layer of the cortex is endodermis. These endodermis cells are having Casparian strips. Casparian strips are formed with a substance suberin. Suberin is impervious to water. It means it won't allow water through it. And then beneath to the or inner to the endodermis, pericycle is present, and then phloem and xylem. Between the phloem and xylem, cambium is present. Okay. So now this is just internal structure of a root. Now here we will discuss how root hairs absorb water from the soil. Generally, we know that water moves from high water potential to low water potential area, or simply we can say that by osmosis. Where water is more, from that it moves to the area where water is less. So from when compared with the cells of plant, it has high concentration, and in the soil low concentration. So automatically water moves from low concentrated area to high concentrated area by the process of osmosis. This you need to remember. Water enters into the root hairs by the process of osmosis. Osmosis is nothing but movement of water from low concentration to high concentrated area. So here the plant cells are having high concentration when compared with the soil, water present in the soil. Soil lo unde water to compare cheskunte plant cells lo concentration ekku untundi. So that automatically from low concentrated area water moves into root hairs. Okay ma? So just after entering into the root hairs from the soil, water entered into the root hairs from the soil, then it passes through the neighboring cells, but it takes place by two ways. Those are apoplast method, movement of water after entering into the root hairs. It can be takes place by two methods: apoplast system and symplast system. Apoplast and symplast. Okay ma? See here, after entering, imagine the situation, from the soil water entered into the root hair, into the epidermal cells. From here this water moves with the intercellular spaces or with the cell walls of the cells, but it will not enter into the cell. It will not enter into the cell. Water moving through intercellular spaces and through the cell walls. Okay ma? Then what about this? That process can say as Main difference between apoplast and symplast is, in case of apoplast, water will not enter into the cell. Cell లోపలికి water enter అవడం అనేది జరగదు. In case of apoplast system. But in case of symplast, water entering into the cell and then it can be transferred through the plasmodesmata. Neighboring cells are connected with the plasmodesmata. Through the plasmodesmata, water enters from one cell to another cell. Plasmodesmata is nothing but connection between two cells. Two cells madhyalo unde connection ni plasmodesmata antaru. So all the cells are connected with each other. Here through the plasmodesmata, in case of symplast, water is transporting. In case of symplast. So that is the main difference between apoplast and symplast. However, in case of apoplast or symplast, both will be reaches to endodermis. But here, this endodermis is with the suberin layer or casparian strip. Endodermis having casparian strips, these are impervious. It means, see, imagine this root, water moving in this manner. Reached up to here. Okay, ma? Here this side having casparian strip. So that this will not allow water into the cell. So, automatically this direction will be changes towards the cell or passage cell which does not have the casparian strip. That we can say as passage cell. Where the passage cell available, in the direction this water moves, whether in case of apoplast or in case of symplast. In both cases, water moves at endodermis through the passage cells. After this can be, it means at the endodermis layer, water moves completely by symplast. It means water enters into the cell. Endodermis layer దగ్గరికి వచ్చేసరికి, in case of apoplast system or in case of symplast system, water entering into the cell. Okay, ma? Then it enters into the pericycle and it will be continuous. Again it will be carry a apoplast method. Once it crosses by endodermis means, then again it will be continuous by endodermis. Continuous by apoplast system through cell wall and intercellular spaces, and finally it reaches to xylem cells. Both the cases. Okay, ma? Like this, water absorption takes place from soil to xylem. So here, water reaches to the xylem tissue. Finally, by the first method, what we are saying, absorption of water by the root hairs. By this, water reaches to xylem tissue. Now, xylem wants to transport that water throughout the plant body. That is what saying ascent of xylem. Okay, but just once I will recall this again. Water transportation takes place mainly in two steps. First one, absorption of water. That absorption of water from soil to xylem. Soil water absorbing into the plant body. First step. That absorbed water wants to transport throughout the plant body by xylem tissue. That is what saying as ascent of xylem. Okay. Here, absorption of water takes place by root hairs. Root hairs absorb water by the process of osmosis. It means movement of water from low concentration to high concentration. When compared with the soil particles, plant cells having high concentration, so that automatically by In case of apoplast, water moves at the intercellular spaces and cell wall. But it won't cross the membranes. Cell membrane will not cross. Water movement in apoplastic system takes place intercellular spaces and cell wall. Coming to the simplest, here movement of water can be takes place by entering into the cell. Here in this case, water entering into the cell. Water enters into the cell. It means it is crossing the plasma membrane, and from cell to cell it can be that water moves through plasmodesmata. However, these both apoplast and simplest ways, water reaches to endodermis, but at endodermis it won't be enter because of having the Casparian strips. This water direction will be changes towards the passage cells, which does not have Casparian strip, and from here this will after crossing the endodermis, the movement of water again will be continuous by apoplast and simplast manner. Finally, the water reaches to xylem. So after completion of absorption, water reached up to the xylem cells. Okay, ma? See here, if this is the root hair, from the soil water absorbed into the root hairs, and now water entered into the xylem of the root. From this xylem, now it needs to transport to other parts of the plant body. Okay, I hope you are clear. Okay, ma'am? Just water entered into the root hairs and it reached to the xylem, but it is not transported throughout the plant body. Now xylem wants to transport throughout the plant body. That is what saying ascent of cell. Okay, we will continue.